Good morning. Welcome, my dear students. How's everybody? How's everyone? Welcome, my dears. This is a lecture today about the types of business organizations. Types of business organizations. We'll go directly now to our work, which we came for, and we'll see what do we mean by types of business organization. Here we go. Let's stop here. Go to September. Business law. And now check out types of business organizations. And actually, I have many types of business organizations, we have three business organization types. Usually we have three business organizations. Okay, the first one of them, before we talk about them, we want to say that every business owner needs to know and to understand what are the advantage and the disadvantage of each kind of those kinds. So he wants to know what is the advantage of the sole proprietorship, what is the advantage of the partnership, and what is the advantage of the corporation. Before moving on to, then we want also to know what are the disadvantages of the sole proprietor, and what are the disadvantages of the partnership, and what are the disadvantages of the corporation. So we'll go to them one, so that why he want to know the pros and cons of each type of business organization. Why? He want to know the types and the pros and cons of each type of business organization so that he can select the best one which suit his needs. Okay. Or the one which will match with his own prospect needs. That's why he must do it like this. Let's start by the sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship actually is very the easiest and most popular form of business. Like around in the United States, as example, and in most of the countries of the world, like around 70% of the type of organizations goes to sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is owned and managed by one person. Only one person who owns it, and he is the one who managed it as well. So this is the sole proprietorship. Okay, the second point is that the sole proprietorship is very easy to form. Very easy. The sole proprietorship, it is very easy to form. By other meaning, it's like the convenience around the corner. It's like a small shop, a barber shop. It's like, it's like any shop that is owned, or business that is owned and managed only by one person, So the easiness to the entry into the markets and the easiness of getting out of the markets is very simple operation. Like, it's easy to get into the market, and if he found himself that he won't be active, he won't do anything, he won't succeed, then it's easy for him to get out of the market. Mostly of all the sole proprietorships, they are like working in a free competition market where the price is determined by the demand and the supply, and the intersection of the demand and the supply. We didn't hear about sole proprietorship except in some very rare cases that they are working in a monopoly or oligopoly, but mostly they are working in a free market competition. I'm just telling you as the convenience. See the convenience. The price is known for every consumer. The price is the same everywhere you go. The market, the entry and the exit of the market is very easy. So what I want to say is that the sole proprietorship figure or types of business is very easy to form and very easy also to dissolve, to end it. It's very easy also to end it. So this is another point. Another point in the sole proprietorship is that if he is very good in managing, and he studied management and he practiced management before, and he was managing his business effectively that this will lead to success. He will succeed in his work. Then the operation will go and the profits will go higher and everything will be fine. That is if he is a successful person. But if he lack experience, if he does not have any experience in running the business, and if he is like having his shortage and he's not running his business effectively, and he's a poor, very poor in management performance, then this will lead to a failure of the project. The most important point in the sole proprietorship is that we have always unlimited liability. Legally, because we are studying the business law, sole proprietorship, we say it is including unlimited liability. So what do we mean by unlimited liability? Unlimited liability, it means no any disconnection or no any separation between the individual or the business owner money or positions and the business positions. No any kind of separation between them. By other meaning, the sole proprietorship owner of a business is responsible about every penny losses in the project. He's responsible about all the money which is lost in the project. So as example, if he lost $100,000, if he lost $100,000 in his operations, okay, and the bank came to ask for the creditors' money. Hey, you have to pay for your creditors. You owe your creditors 100,000. You have to pay for them 100,000. Then when they check his positions, which is seen in front of them in the business, they found it 20,000 only. As example, the shop and the car and this and that, which is for the service of the business, they become like around 20,000 when they estimated 20,000. Okay, we'll say he owed the people 100,000. He owed the people 100,000, but he has only $20,000 in business. That does not mean that it's okay. We'll take this 20,000 and you can go. No. He's still responsible about the 80,000. He's still responsible. Okay, we'll go to him at home. We'll take from him whatever he has to pay for this 80,000. So he's still responsible for the payment of the whole debt which he has to his creditors. What he owes his creditors, regardless of whether it was in the business or not in the business, he has to pay it. He has to pay it. Again, if I go to if he is now, like, he lost his money in operations or operation monies or his business, he lost his investments and he has losses of $100,000, all $100,000. But when they came to check him, they found only that he have in the business, running in the business, only 20,000 of them. That does not mean that I will exempt from him the 80,000. I will take from him the 80,000. We call this unlimited liability. The word unlimited liability means I cannot disconnect between what he owns and what the business owns. All are one. Mix it together, both of them. So here we say the sole proprietorship, the easiest and most popular form of business or ownership. And we have the sole proprietorship, a business that is owned and operated by one person. Sole proprietorship. The owner of the sole proprietorship receives the profits. That's right. He is running the business. He's alone. No one with him. Sole means alone. Sole means only he. He is the only one there. He's the only one there. Inquiry incurs any losses and he's also responsible because he's managing and he's the owner. He is the one who has the profits and losses. So in the two cases, if he get losses, he get profits. He got it for his own self. If there is losses, it's also, he will carry on all the losses. He will carry on all the losses. He's liable for the debts of the business also. So he is responsible for any cent, any penny had been lost in the business or any penny he owed to the others. He has to pay to the others. Okay, how about the sole proprietorship? We are still in the sole proprietorship. In a sole proprietorship, the owner must decide how much liability protection he or she needs. Liability protection, insurance against debts and action of business. Of course, without I was talking about the before the insurance, but when there is insurance, that's fine. But before the insurance, he's unlimited liability. He's unlimited. He's liable for every cent in the business. He has to pay every cent in the business. What about the advantages of the our sole proprietorship? First of all, sole proprietorship is easy and inexpensive to create. Well, if you want to make a barber shop, it's in the corner, around the corner, and you can do this. You can do it very easy. You just go and take the license and open, and that's it. And some equipment in the barber shop, and that's it. If you want to do a convenience, you just ask to make a convenience, and every company will come and fill up your store with goods. Then it's very easy to form. Very easy to form. The owner complete authority over all business activities. So the owner has complete authority. He is author about any business activity. He is author about all his decisions. He is responsible from A to Z. This is the sole proprietorship. Third, it is the least regulated form of businessship, least regulated form of business ownerships. Yes, because it's not complicated like the corporation. So it's very easy to form. The business pays no taxes. Look at this. The business pays no taxes. Income is taxed at the personal rate. So when you do business here, you will pay the taxes based to your own personal rate, but not for the business, not tax of the business. The personal rate of the owner. Okay. Now we'll go to the disadvantages. We'll go to this. We said also one of the advantages here that the owner of the business is the one who manage. He own and he manage. But this is take care, because this may be advantage and at the same time it is disadvantage. Okay. We'll go now to the disadvantages of the types of business or the sole proprietorship, the disadvantage of the sole proprietorship. The first one, the owner has unlimited liability. And this point, I have to stop here and say again, unlimited liability, like the example which I said, if you lost 100,000 and we find in the business only 20,000, your shop and your car of the business all equal 20,000, we will not exempt you, or we will say this 20,000 and that's it. No, we will take the other 80,000, which you still owe to the people, have to pay to the people, the creditors, which you have to pay to the creditors. So this we call it unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. Okay. Raising capital is more difficult. Raising the capital in this kind, it's easy to form, but though it does not need too much money, it needs little money to start. It's not like a corporation, it needs millions of dollars. No, it needs only a few in proportion. When we compare it to the corporation, it doesn't need all these amounts of money. It needs limited amount of money. But also, let me tell you something. This is advantage, and at the same time, it's disadvantage. It is disadvantage if you want to expand your business. If you want to expand your business, it's a big disadvantage, because you are a sole proprietor. If you go to banks to take mortgage or to borrow money or to finance your business, how much they will give you? They know that you are a sole business. You are not a corporation. They know you are a sole business. At least they will give you just limited amount of money. They will give you a limited amount of money. For that reason, the ability to expand in the sole proprietorship, is very low. It's limited. The ability to expand is very limited. Okay. The business, like we said before, is totally reliant on the owner. That's what we said. If he is good in running his business, then the business will be fine. If he was not good in running his business, then the business will fall down. It's because the owner is the manager. The owner is the manager of the business. One thing also more is here in the in this kind of ownership is that because we said consequently for there is no any separation between the owner and the manager in the sole proprietorship. So we have also the consequent to this rule or this element. We say that the death of the owner will terminate the business. Once the owner died or passed away, once the owner died or passed away, in that case, the business will stop. The business, there is no business anymore in that case. So the death of the owner dissolves the business unless there is a will to the contrary. If there's something else happened, but in all the cases, once he died, the business will stop. Once the owner of the business died, then the business will stop. So this was also one of the disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. We said before, and I'm saying back, that it's very difficult to finance. It's very difficult to find money for a sole proprietorship. It's very difficult to find money for the sole proprietorship because expanding, because it's very limited. So expanding, even whenever you expand, how much you will get? How much you will get for your sole proprietorship? Nothing. It's just peanuts. So whenever you need to expand, you need to make more business, you need to run more business, it's very difficult in the sole proprietor. In this form of business ownership, the ownership has unlimited liability, like we said before. Unlimited, what's the meaning of unlimited liability? Like here, it is in blue, the full personality for all debts and actions of the business. I'm totally responsible. I'm fully responsible about every penny I lose in the business. And not only my personal money, not only the business money, but also I'm responsible to pay from my personal money. I'm also responsible to pay from my personal money. This is the disadvantages of the first kind. And I will go now for a questions, and we will put here a question saying, what? Let me go to another slide. Question number 1. You can answer in the chat box here. You can answer on the chat box here down. The question is, what are the sole proprietorship? What are the sole, or what we'll say, what is the sole proprietorship in business? What is the sole proprietorship in business? This is our first question today. Okay. Okay. What is the sole proprietorship in business? And we will go here. This is our first question today. And also, this is business law. activities. Sole proprietor or types of companies, types of business. One, types of business firms, question one. Now I'll add the question here. Control and C, Control and P. Forward this question. Then now I will go to question 2. Business firms, question 2. Now I'll write and say state the advantages of state the advantages of the sole proprietorship in business. State the advantages of the sole proprietorship in business. Second question. Then we'll go to the third question. 2. We'll go to the third question. Business firms question 3. Business firms, question 3. Here we go. Control and V. What are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship in business? What are the disadvantages? Let's see. And here we go. What are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship in business? And here also I will put those 2 questions as well. New slide. Control V. Then here also So we'll put here not dots. That means to write the disadvantages. If you don't have a D2L, you can write your answer here and here also. What are the advantages of the sole proprietorship? So we have a question for the advantages, and we have another question, further question for the disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. So we have a question about what is the sole proprietorship, another question about what are the advantages of the sole proprietorship, another question about the disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. The three questions, we have it, and I will release it also from the D2L so everybody can see it. Everybody can see it and work on it right now. So all the questions will be visible to users right away. Perfect. So we stop here for about 5 minutes to answer this question. Then we will go to the second part, which is the partnership. Then we'll go to the next part, which is the partnership. We'll stand here for about 5 to 7 minutes to answer these questions. Then we'll go to the next part of our lecture today, which is the partnership. Okay. Thank you. Please go on the answers. Please go on the answers of the three questions. What is the sole proprietorship? What are the advantages of sole proprietorship? And what are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship? The questions, you will find it under business types, question 1, business type, question 2, business type, question 3 in the D2L. And it's opened, you can see it now. Thank you so much. If you don't have D2L, please send the answers on the chat box here. Thank you. I will keep here for around 5 minutes, then we will move, or 10 minutes, from 5 to 10 minutes, then we will move after answering these questions. Thank you. So we are back, my dears, for the second part of this lecture today. We are back and we will go now to the second form of business, which is a partnership. Let me explain to you in some few words. What do we mean by the partnership? A partnership here in this case, there will be more than one sole proprietor. So it's not sole proprietor only one person, but we will have more than one person. Together, like 4 or 5, 2, 3, they are two or more persons who will carry on the business. Okay, if this is, it is similar, closer to the sole proprietor in some points, it's very closer to the sole proprietor in some points. Meanwhile, it avoids also some of the disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. Let me tell you something, an example. In the sole proprietor, if the business owner has losses, if he had losses of 100,000, then he will carry on the whole 100,000. This is in the sole proprietor. If he has losses of 100,000, he will carry all the 100,000. But in the partnership, if they were 4 and the same losses 100,000, then each of them will carry only 25,000 of the 100,000. You guys got me? Now, in the sole proprietorship, he will carry all the losses alone because he is by himself only. But in partnership, the losses will be distributed among the partners. For that reason, the quotas of each partner will be less than if he was alone, working alone as sole proprietor. So 100,000 divided by one person is 100,000. This is the sole proprietor. But in partner, if there are 4 partners, and we will say 4 partners, and we will say that the same losses, 100,000. 100,000 divided by 4 persons, then each person will pay 25,000 only, which 25,000 is less than 100,000. The other advantage is that its ability to expand, though it is still limited, but it's better anyhow, it's better than the sole proprietorship. So though there is, like we say, its ability to expand is better than the sole proprietorship. As example, the sole proprietor can take a maximum of 500,000 loan or mortgage. The partner, they will take 4 million, 3 million. So its ability to expand is better than the sole proprietorship. Let us read, what about the partnership? A partnership draws the skills, knowledge, and financial resources more of one person. Of course, and this also advantage, because there might be one of them educated in management, he's having professionals, he's having a good skills in management, can lead the whole company to success and lead them to go forward. But in sole proprietor, there's only one, so the chance to lose is more, because if he's poor in management, that means he will lose. But when there's diversity, more than one person, we find that the chance one of them will be better for management performance. He can do performance in management more better than if it was one person alone and you don't know if he's doing good or bad. So the partnership, like we say, an unincorporated business, because we will talk about the incorporated business after this, with 2 or more owners. Look at this, with 2 or more owners who share the decisions, assets, liabilities, and profits, like that way. So I'm not alone, we are 3 or 4, we are sharing together the cost of the assets, etc. Okay. Partnership. We have limited partnership and we have general partnership. We have general partnership and we have limited partnership. So let's see. The law requires that all partners have at least one general partner. Okay, a partner may be set up that all of the partners are general partners. Okay, the law requires that all partners have at least one general partner. A partnership may be set up so that all of the partners are general partners. Who is the general partners? So it can be one general partners or partners. General partner, a participation in a partnership who has unlimited personal liability. He has unlimited personal liability, exactly like the sole proprietorship. He has unlimited liability and takes full responsibility and for managing. So he's the manager. The general partner is the manager. He is like there, like the sole proprietorship. He's fully responsible. He's fully responsible about the business. Okay. And he's also managing the business. He's the one who signs in front of the creditors and debtors. He's the one who do this. He's the one who sign for the contracts, and he's the one who do this work. Okay. Partnership. Some partnerships include limited partners. So we'll have general partner in the partnership, and we have limited partner. So we have in the partnership general and limited partner. Okay, what is the limited partner? Okay, the limited partner, like you see here, let us go to it and just adjust it. Okay, the limited partner is only limited for his money, liable for the business losses, liable for his share of the business losses, liable for his share of the business loss. Let us read it. A partner in a business whose liability is limited to his or her investment, his share. So if I put $20,000 in this business and I am limited partner, that means I'm responsible about this 20,000 only. Okay, then it's not like the sole proprietorship. There is no any separation between my losses, my personal losses, and all the amount of losses. No, in that case here, I'm only responsible about the part of the losses of the business based on my own share. I paid 5,000, I will lose the 5,000. I paid 20,000, I will lose based on my share in the losses and based on my share in the investment. A limited partner cannot be actively involved in managing the business. So we have general manager in the partnership. We have in the partnership general manager, general manager, and we have partnership, limited partner. We have general partner and we have limited partner. This is in the partnership. The general is a manager who's responsible about managing the business. The limited, no. The limited is limited only. He has limited liability with the amount of his own investments only. He has limited liability with the amount only of his investments. So this is how it works. So let's talk now about the partnership, the advantage and disadvantages. It's also inexpensive to create. It is inexpensive to create. That's right. It is inexpensive to create. General partners have complete control. Okay, the general partners is the manager, like we said. We have general partner and we have limited partner. The general manager, the general partner is the manager of the business. Partners can share ideas. We have 4 or 5 persons, like brainstorming. They can make more ideas. They can have more improve in decisions, whatever. Partners can share ideas. Again, it's written twice, so that's this one will remove this one. Okay, so this is how it works. This is how it works. This is regarding the partnership. Partnership, it is difficult to dissolve one partner's interest without dissolving the partnership. So If someone passed away, we have another 3 or 4. There may be personality conflict. This is one of the bad things. There may be personality conflict. Sometimes 4 or 5 persons. The more the partners, the more the conflict, because we will never agree on one idea together. We will never agree on one idea. So sometimes this is good and sometimes it's bad. It's good to generate new idea, That's good for this, but it's bad also or negative in that those partners might have contradicted and opposed way of thinking, alternates. Someone will choose an alternate, the other will choose another alternate. Some might be approving a project and some of them others might don't approve it. Some of them want to expand, the other do not want to expand, the others. So in all the cases here, you are talking about many persons, there must be a conflict between them. So it is advantage if they are working, brainstorming and generating creative ideas, that will be a benefit. At the same time, it is a negative point of view if we talk about the conflict that will happen, between them. Okay. Partners can be held liable for each other's actions. Oh, this is another point. Yeah, so the manager made a decision that make the losses, then I will carry on even partly of these losses. I am responsible. So I carried the mistakes of the others. So here before we leave the partner, we will also ask the same questions which we asked there. So I will say here, what is the partnership? This will be the first question. What is partnership? What's partnership? Then this is the first question. The second question will be, what are the advantage of partnership? What are the advantages of the partnership? This is the second question. Okay. Then the third question will be, what are the disadvantages? We'll take this question like this, Control and C, and we will put it here again, Control and V. What are the disadvantages of partnership? So we will have the advantage of the partnership and we will have the disadvantage of the partnership. Same questions, I will go to D2L to post it there. We will say business firms, question 4. Business firms, question 4. And here I will open the same questions. We'll put here for the D2L for the students who don't have, who has their D2L is working. That will be fine. What is the partnership? Then business firms, question 5. We'll go to it now. Business firms. Question 5, business firms. Verbs, question 5. Here we will go. What is the advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship? What are the advantage and disadvantage? We'll take the advantage in a question and disadvantage in another question. So please, you have the 3 questions. Go for answering them. If you have Google Classroom, D2L, go to the D2L. If you don't have D2L, please work on the chat box. Send the answers to the chat box if the D2L is not working. The questions under business firms in the D2L. So here we go. What are the advantages of partnership? And the third question, B, what are the disadvantages of partnership? That will be business firms, question 6. And here we go. Advantages. This is what the advantages of partnership. What are the advantages of partnership? Then we'll go to the what are the disadvantages of partnership. Lecture, or we'll say business firms, question 6. Here we go. Add new question. Written response. What are the disadvantages of the partnership? So those questions, you will find it under the name business firm in the D2L. You will find it under the name business firms in the D2L. You will find it under the name business firms in the D2L. So you will work there. And I will give here around 7 minutes to answer these 3 questions, please. That will be fine. We will give around 7 minutes for answering of these questions. I hope that will be enough. If it's not enough, we'll take more time. Thank you so much. Let us go to answer these questions, please, and we will come back. So we will have about 3 minutes more for answering these questions, please. 3-4 minutes. Thank you. Okay, I think that's more than enough for the second type, which is the partnership. Now we will move into the third type, which is the corporations. What do we mean by the word corporation? Corporation usually refers to the an entity which consists of it's not a kind of it's a kind of ownership. It's an ownership. What do you mean by ownership? Let me tell you something. If I have 100,000 share and each share was $1, then and the whole capital of this company or the total equity is 1 million, then 100,000 by 1 million means I own 10% of the total equity of this company. So if the company sold a share, I have 10% of the price of this share. The corporation is divided into shares or stocks. We call it stocks or shares. The more the corporation needs money, the more they will expand in selling shares to the public. So for that reason, the easiness to expand in the corporation is endless. It is very easy to finance, to get money through selling shares and expanding the business or for any reason. When the corporation company needs money, they divide or they sell shares or stocks. We call it shares or we call it stocks or we call it dividends. Shares or stocks or dividends. They sell the shares into the public, sell it to them, the shares, to the public or the dividends or the stocks, and they get consequently they get more money so that they can expand. So they are not like the sole partnership and not like the sole proprietorship and not like the partnership. They have easiness to expand and increase their money with a vast or with enormous or with huge amounts of money. Okay, in corporation, the owner of the business are protected from liability for the action of the company. Now, we are in front of a different case. This we call it limited liability. limited liability. What do you mean by limited liability? If like, let's say you have $5,000 shares or stocks in ABC corporation firm. Let's say you have invested $5,000 as shares in ABC corporation company. Okay. If the company lost $20 million, $500 million, you are only responsible from these losses about your $5,000 shares. That's it. I think it's clear now, because when for the corporation, you are responsible only of your quotas, of your shares in investment, regardless if you are outside a millionaire or you don't, or you just borrow this money. We don't have anything to do with this. The corporation don't have to do anything with this. The corporation, in corporation, each person or each investor is only liable with his share of investments in this corporation. Limited liability, and that's what it means. Okay, there are three types of corporations. We have three types of corporation. We have corporation, sub-chapter corporation, and we have also non-profit corporations. Okay, what is the corporations? A business that is registered by a state. It must be registered of state, of course, because it must be approved by the government, because they will expand and take money from the people. So the government must monitor their business and operates apart from its owner. Yes, and one of the most important points in the corporation, that there is a separation between the management and the business owners. The management are very well skillful people who know what they are doing and very expert, not like sole proprietor. Sole proprietor may be poor in management or very skillful, who knows? But here, no. In corporation, the owner of the business is not, the owners of the business are not the management. There is a disconnect or separation between the business owner and the business management. It issues shares, like I told you, of stocks and lives of on after the ownership have sold their interest to passed away. So even if the owners of the stocks passed away, no problem. Shares can be transferred into another person. So here also, we avoid the problem of the death of the owner, like it was in the sole proprietorship. It was in the sole proprietor. When we talk about the sole proprietor, I said the death of the owner will dissolve the project or the business that was in the sole proprietorship. Here, no. The death of the owner will never stop the business to run, because he has his dividends or his stocks or his shares. These can be transferred to another person. So still the business will go on. That is in the corporation, not in the sole proprietorship. Sole proprietor, the owner of the business, if he passed away, the business might be dissolved and terminated. Okay. There are three types of corporations: co-corporation, sub-chapters corporation, and non-profit corporations. And that's what we talk about. Okay. A corporation is the most common, a C corporation is the most common corporate form. C corporation, an entity that pays taxes on earnings. Its shareholders pay taxes as well. Okay. We said this, that the owner of the business is separated from the business itself. The owner of the business is separated from the business itself. C corporation, in a smaller corporations, the founder generally are the major shareholders. The founders are the shareholders. Who are the shareholders? The shareholders are the people who buy the shares, who buy the stocks. The shareholders are those who buy the shares or the stocks. That's fine. Okay. Status. Now we'll talk about the advantages of the corporation. The advantages of the corporation. The status, the limited, first of all, its own, though it's very hard to confirm or to make it to form this kind of business, because it needs licenses from the government, and but once it's done, it will be a very good way for investment. And it can go for projects like a very huge products, which the sole proprietor and the partnership cannot do it. As example, work in the oil, in the gas, in huge industries, in making huge companies which trade globally or whatever. So the type of the activity also is different. In the corporation, it's doing some business that it's profitable, but in the same time, the social responsibilities of this business is very high. Okay, limited liability, because you are only liable because you are liable for your share which you invested in this corporation. Your shares and dividends, you have $5,000 dividends. If the company lost everything, you are only responsible about this $5,000, but you are not responsible like the sole proprietorship in about all the losses. No, your limited responsibility is only with the $5,000. Here, that's in the corporation. Ability to raise investment money, that's fine. The ability to raise investments money, we said this, the ability here is very higher when we in relation to the sole proprietor and the partner. Perpetual existence, employees benefits, yes, because people who are working here, they are stable, they are not fired so quickly. They enjoy the business, the law of the contract law, and they are in protection always. And they have also the bonuses and the incentives and a good pension. So whoever these kinds of companies will apply the law. Tax advantages also, you have in this company the taxes advantages. The advantages were still in. Corporate shareholders will show now the tax advantages. Corporate shareholders have limited liability, but some banks require officers to personally guarantee the debts of the company. Okay. The limited liability, we talked about it before, but we said the unlimited liability. The limited liability is the opposite. Partial, it's a partial, means part. Responsibility, responsible about a part only, responsible about of a corporation shareholders. He or she is responsible up to the amount, look at this, up to the amount of his or her individual investments. So only based on my investments, how far was my investments? I'm responsible about this part only. I'm not responsible about each penny, no, of the company's losses. I'm only responsible for what I paid to buy shares. For what I paid to buy shares. This is my responsibility. Disadvantage, expensive to set up. This, what we said before, because it's a huge entities, so it needs a huge amounts of money to start. If you will work, as example, in nuclear units, producing nuclear units, if you will make a cement factory, if you will make a pipelines company to shift the gas from a country to another country, how far? Can you imagine how far money is needed here, or the amounts of money needed to start this product? It's billions. So it's expensive to start. Plus the governmental procedures to issue such a companies like this. Don't forget that you will issue stocks in the market in the corporation, and that means that it has to be this, it's monitored by the government, because who knows, if you are cheating, then you'll take this money and go. So the government must monitor the activities of the corporation companies. Income more heavily taxed, yes, taxes are more here, subject to double taxation of income, because you will pay the income here and you will pay the income tax, personal income tax as well. So you will have double taxation. Okay, pays taxes on profits. Usually the profits, we divide it, we say profits before tax, income before tax, then we deduct the tax, then we say the net profit. So yes, there is taxes imposed on the profits in the corporation. Stakeholders taxed on dividends. So also The stakeholders, they have their own dividends, the shares, they pay taxes for the dividends. They pay also taxes for the dividends. So like you see, there is double taxation here, a double taxation. Corporation avoid double taxation with how we will avoid the double taxation with is a corporation taxed like a partnership. So the kind of S corporation that will pay the taxes like the partnership. So there will be no double taxation to avoid the double taxation with the S corporation. So this S corporation's advantages: profits are only taxed once at the shareholder personal tax rate. The S corporation is not tax-paying entity. The disadvantages of this kind of corporations can have no more than 75 stockholders, with the most be US citizens. This is about the US regulations, but it's applied all some place in the world. Can have only one class of stock. Often restaurants are S corporation. If the business produces enough cash, this form works. So it needs too much cash to work. If the business shows a large taxable profits, but has not generated enough cash to cover taxes, the owner must pay the taxes out of their personal earning. So this is one of the points which is not nice in the corporations. Okay, we go now to a non-profit corporation. Non-profit corporations means the main reason for my existence is to enrich the social values of a society, but not only for profits. I'm not there for profits. Okay. A non-profit corporation must fall within the four categories: religion, like the churches or whatever; charity, like the donations, you donate for Africa, you donate here, you donate there. These are corporations. Public benefits, as example, things that will be helpful for the whole people. Mutual benefits between the country and the person or the society, between the government and the society. A non-profit corporation, a legal entity that makes money for reasons other than the owner's profits. So I'm not making money for profits, but I will take it and make donations with it or whatever. It can make a profit, but a profit must remain within the company. You don't divide the profits like the corporation. In the corporation, at the end of the year, in the corporation, you divide the profits on the stakeholders or the shareholders. But here, no. If you make profits, you will keep it within the organization. It won't move out of the organization. Limited liability company. There are many benefits for forming limited liability company. The limited liabilities in general, there are many advantages for them. Limited liability is always that you pay only for your share. There is a separation between the management and the ownership. So what you lost is something, and what the business lost is another thing. You lost only in the limited liability what you put in the business, not all your money, what only you put in the business. This is in the limited liability. There are many benefits of forming limited liabilities. We talked about this before. Limited liabilities to a company whose owners and managers have limited liability and same tax benefits, but which avoids some restriction associated with sub chapters S corporations. Okay. Without going for more details about this, we talk about the limited liabilities. Okay. So you will make a decision now which type of business forms you want. Before we go to this now, I will say my last questions here. I will end by my last questions here. Same 3 questions. We will put them also in this area. Right now, we will put them in this area, like exactly what we did for here we go. Control and C. And we go to our last page here. And here we'll put new slides. Okay. And here we'll go take this up here like this, up and up. Okay. Move it up here. Then this part will move it also up here. And we'll put our questions. Here we go. So what are the advantage, disadvantage of corporation? Corporation in business, and what is the disadvantage of corporation in business? Same questions which we had before, but now we will apply it only on the corporation. And we will stay here around 10 minutes, and I will put the same two questions also on the Google Classroom. I will put them in the Google Classroom now for the advantages and the disadvantages of the sole proprietorship. This is business firms, question 7. Business firms, question 7. Here we go. I will add a question here, new question with the response. Advantages of corporation in business, the advantage of corporation in business. Also here, what are the disadvantages in business? And this is the last question. This is business firm question 8. This is business firm question 8. And this will go for control. What are the disadvantages? We said the disadvantages. What are the advantages? So one question is what are the advantage, and the other, what are the disadvantages of corporation? And I will release those questions right now for you guys. I will release all of them for you, so it will be opened up to you. You can see it on the monitor here. Make it visible to users. Here we go. 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 Make it visible to users. And finally here, make it visible to users. And this was our work for today. Now we'll go for these questions, and I will leave it for you here around 7 or 8 minutes. The 3 questions. What do we mean by corporation? Also, what do we mean by corporation was first here. What do we mean by corporation? What do we mean by corporation? What do we mean by corporation? And this was the first question here also today. So this was our question, first question. What do we mean by corporation? So here we have the 3 questions. Please go for answering it. Thank you so much. We'll stay here around 10 minutes. Then we will go. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. We'll stay 10 minutes here for answering these questions. Please work on it. Thank you. Thank you so much.